This is a world where different gods live in it, and there are also many evil things like phantoms that appear in the dark and possess people and force them to do sins. The anime starts with a scene where a girl is sitting in a classroom and she thought that she is a loser, and she is just an average student. Then a big evil phantom that looks like a snake appeared outside the window of the classroom, but then Yato and his Regalia Tomone come there to kill this huge phantom. Then Yato jumps from a high building, and Yato screams the nickname of Tomone as Hanki, and she transformed into a sharp knife. Yato killed the phantom using Regalia's power. Then his Regalia Tomone said to Yato that she wants to quit this job, and she doesn't want to be his Regalia anymore. So Yato released her. Yato, a little-known deity described to as a god of calamity. Despite his desperate attempts to build his own shrine and gain disciples, Yato finds it difficult to even buy a piece of land for it. He either spends his time locating missing cats or, for a paltry sum, helps students cheat on exams. Yato meets Hiyori Iki, a high school student, when he is out working one day. While attempting to save Yato, Hiyori is struck by the bus and knocked unconscious. Finally awake, Hiyori learns that her spirit has left her body and that she can now see ghosts and other paranormal creatures. Hiyori searches for Yato in an effort to return to her ordinary life. Yato grudgingly agrees to assist her, but only if he is compensated. Hiyori becomes Yato's first official client, as they go on a quest to find a means to reunite Hiyori's spirit with her body. Along the trip, they come to face a number of spirits and other deities, each with their own unique abilities and goals. Yato's background also begins to come into perspective, revealing a more evil aspect of him and his difficult past. A fascinating and unpredictably unexpected journey is set in motion by Yato's increasing affection for Hiyori and her resolve. Hiyori was sleeping in the class, so her teacher said that if you are not feeling well, then you can go to the nurse's office. Hiyori said that she's fine and she just dozed off. Then she goes into the dress-changing room where she saw many other weird creatures, but then her body fell down on the floor and she becomes a spirit again. But then Hiyori goes outside and then she saw some big creatures out there, the same as a snake. Yato explains to her that only young children and animals can see these weird-looking creatures. Yato then tells Hiyori that even though he is a god, but he can't cut anything without a regalia, so he needs a regalia. So Hiyori decides to find a regalia for Yato by herself, but she ended up standing near a big creature that looks like a frog. So Hiyori calls Yato, and Yato uses his power and teleported to Hiyori's place. But when he saw that this creature is dangerous, so they both start running away from this creature. Yato fights with this creature, but this frog-looking creature named Old Phantom, somehow they manage to run away from Old Phantom. Then Yato finds a boy who's young and the creature to make him a word, a regalia for him. So he made this small young creature his regalia, and after some time this boy turned into a real person. The new regalia of Yato is Yukine. Hiyori gives a treat to Yato and Yukine and brings them into a restaurant. Then Yukine thanked her. Yato got a call that someone needs his service. There he met another god named Tenji-sama. People called him the god of learning, and he has many females as his regalias. Yato met his old regalia there. She joined Tenji-sama's team. Then Tomono, the old regalia of Yato, told him that phantoms create negative thoughts among people and force them into suicide. So Yato said that he will help them in solving this matter. Hiyori was still in her spirit form, so she tried to attack phantoms alone, but she fell on the train track. She has a tail whenever she comes into her spirit form, but if she comes under the train, her tail will get cut off as soon as this tail is in connection between her life and her body. But then Yato comes and rescues her. After that, they saw a big phantom trying to put some negative thoughts in the mind of a student, so Yato appeared there and cuts this phantom into pieces. The next day, Hiyori brings lunch for Yato and tells him to listen to her request, but he was busy enjoying her lunch. Then Yato brings Hiyori and Yukine to the house of his girlfriend named Kofuku. Kofuku was just acting to be in a relationship with Yato, when in reality, she had a man in her life. Then Yato said to her that he did not have enough resources to provide this kid Yukine shelter and clothes. So Kofuku gives Yato some money. But then suddenly Kofuku's husband named Daikoku comes and kicks Yato on his back. Then they had tea with Kofuku and her husband. Yato said that her husband is a bad person. On hearing this, Daikoku got angry and he kicked Yato high in the air. After some time, Yato comes again and brings Yukine with him because someone called Yato for help. As the three arrived at the location, Yato accidentally pushed a person named Yusuke-kun from a high building who called him. Yusuke tells them that he was in a relation with Kofuku, but now his economic condition is not that good because his company got bankrupt. And now he tried suicide, so Yato cuts off the ties of memory that Yusuke has with Kofuku, so he will completely forget about her. Then Kofuku tells Hiyori a rumor about Yato that as he's a god of war, he sometimes kills people too. Then Hiyori forces Yato to let her take Yukine to her home, but Yato stopped her from doing this in the end. Yukine agreed to go with Hiyori. When he arrived at Hiyori's home, he got shocked because her home was so big and he never saw such a house before. Then she let Yukine stay in her elder brother's room. After getting a hot bath, Yukine goes to sleep in his room, but it was dark there, and he feared from the dark, so Hiyori said to him to sleep with her. After this, Yato saw the huge creatures that are flying in the sky, and then a girl who was riding on a lion started killing them with a gun. The next morning, Hiyori buys some clothes for Yukine. Then Yukine goes out of the shopping mall, but he got lost in the city. And then when it starts getting dark, Yukine starts running towards home because he is scared of the dark. On the way, he saw a little girl who was waiting for her mother to pick her up, but she got late. Actually, this little girl was a phantom in human form, and Yukine fell into her trap. And then when it became dark, this little girl transformed into a huge phantom. Then Yato comes to help him and kills the phantom with a sword. The next day when Yukine goes into the shopping mall, she saw a skateboard there, so he got negative thoughts, and no one can see him if he steals, it does not matter, so he stole that skateboard. As God and Regalia are connected to each other's body and mind, when Yukine got negative thoughts, Yato also feels that too. Then a girl named Bishamon comes there and attacked Yato and Yukine. As Yato shouts, Seki, Yukine turned into a sword, and Yato uses him and fights with Bishamon. Then he starts running away from Bishamon, but she has a navigator, so it's easy for her to locate Yato. Then she fired bullets at Yato, but he cut them in half with a sword. On the other hand, Hiyori goes to Kofuku's house to tell them that Yato is in danger, and he needs their help. Then Hiyori smells Yato and locates him. Kofuku also comes to help Yato while he was fighting with Bishamon. But Kofuku uses her powers and creates a windstorm between Yato and Bishamon. So Bishamon stops fighting and said that she will come again and kill Yato with her own two hands. The next morning, Hiyori brought cookies and tea for Yukine, but instead of Yukine, Yato was there. Yato tells Hiyori that Yukine runs away to Tenji-sama. Then the scene shifts where Yukine comes to Tenji-sama because now he wants to work for him instead of Yato. Then Hiyori goes to Tenji-sama where he tells her that he rejects Yukine to work for him. Then Hiyori starts searching for Yukine, but she did not find him. So she stops at a place to take some rest, and then suddenly Bishamon appeared there because she was still searching for Yato and other phantoms to kill them. Then one of the regalia of Bishamon told Hiyori that if Yato is their enemy, but he is also their survivor, and tells Hiyori to take care of Yato as he's getting injured from inside. Then Yato comes and tells Yukine that they got a new job, and it was a good job selling food in a shop. Yukine said that this job is really boring. Then Hiyori, Kofuku, and Daikoku come into the Yato shop. Here Yato got faint, but then he finds out that Yukine stole something. But Yukine said that he did not steal money, and then he ran out of the shop. While running, a box having money in it fell from his coat, and everyone sees that Yukine did steal the money, and he lied. Hiyori said Yato to treat Yukine like a human, so he will understand and never do bad things again. Then Yato goes to Yukine and converts him into a sword, and then he fights with the giant phantom and defeated him. Yato was hiding in a girl's toilet. He was writing his phone number and his job services there, but Hiyori saw him and Yukine and thought that they were trying to see her, so she beat both of them. Then in the toilet, another boy was hiding himself because he was getting bullied. So he thought it could be the best place to hide from bullies. This boy's name is Ogiwara Manabu, and he is in class 2A. He told him that his classmates always bother him during the break. Then Bishamon comes to Kofuku's house and asked about Yato, but Kofuku threatens her that if she tries to fight with Yato again, Kofuku will open the phantom vent again to keep Bishamon away from Yato. Then Manabu goes to the classroom again, and he saw that his clothes were in the dustbin. The evil phantoms again put some negative and aggressive thoughts in him to kill the bullies, but Yato comes to stop him. After this, Yato fell to the ground, so Hiyori takes him to Kofuku's house because Yato was getting possessed by evil phantoms, and this poison was spreading to all over his body. Kofuku just let Hiyori into her house, and then Kofuku gives her the water that directly comes from the spring, so if she washes her body, the poison will not affect Hiyori. Then Daikoku goes to Tenji-sama because if they don't punish Yukine for her evil deeds, or if they don't do that, Yato will die soon. So Hiyori goes to Bishamon's house, and she screams out Kazuma's name. Kazuma is the regalia of Bishamon, so he comes to help Yato and punish Yukine. Then Daikoku, Kazuma, and Yato's old servant come to punish Yukine. But Yukine didn't want to confess that he did anything wrong, but when they all start punishing him really hard, he starts confessing that he stole money, and he told lies. He broke windows, and he stole a skateboard too. On the other hand, Yato feels better because his poison stopped and starts healing again, and this all saves Yukine and Yato from death. The next morning, Yato goes to Tenji-sama and thanks him because he also helped Yato when he was near to death. Then Yato asks Tenji how he can fix Hiyori because she kept losing her body many times. Then Hiyori brings her old books for Yukine because he also wants to study in high school. Then at night, Hiyori dresses up to visit Yushima Tenji Shrine with Yukine and Yato. Then Yato receives a call that someone wants his service, but when Yukine and Yato arrive at the place, they saw a big phantom. Yato screams the name Seki and Yukine transformed into the sword. Then Yato cuts the hands, and then he killed this phantom. But then more phantoms appear there, but Yato starts killing them one by one. On the other hand, Nora attacked Hiyori and tried to kill her. Nora tells Hiyori that Rabo, the god of Calamity, has woken up to kill Yato and Yo. Yato defeated all those phantoms and then visits Hiyori to enjoy food with her and Yukine. Then Rabu comes into the city and starts killing people near a lake. Then the scene shifts to Yukine. He was studying in his room. Yato said that Hiyori got attached to them, which resulted in him constantly losing the body. So he tried to cut the tie of Hiyori between him so she will lose all memories that she had with Yato. But after some time, Yato wants to bring her memory back, so he starts making sketches of him and Hiyori together and tried to remind her how she spent time with Yato and other people. But then Naro comes and said that Rabo is going to kill Yato, so beware of him. Then suddenly Rabo appears there and he transforms Naro into a sword, and then he attacks Yato. But this time Yukine got injured, so Rabo stopped fighting, and then Naro appeared and said that if Yato defeated Rabo, so then she will return Hiyori's memory back. After getting defeated, Yato said to Yukine that he may have to forget to bring Hiyori's memory back, but Yukine said that he will not give up, so he'll make the sketch again, and said that he will try his best to bring her memory back. Then he calls Hiyori to meet him under the bridge of the train. Then he starts showing her pictures and reminds her about her past. But then suddenly Hiyori stops talking, and then she said that she didn't even know Yukine. On hearing this, Yukine starts crying. Then on a rainy day, Rabo and Yato go to a rocky hill there. They start fighting, but Rabo said that Yato is too weak to fight with him. Rabo has a ball in which he stored the memory of Hiyori, but then he throws the ball into the water. Yato tried to catch it, but then Rabo destroyed it. When he destroyed the ball, Hiyori got fainted. Yato got so angry, and he turned into a real god of Calamity. And then he started beating Rabo really badly and injured him. Then Rabo broke a giant rock, and then he made it fall on the Hiyori and injured her. But then Yato killed Rabo in one take. Then Hiyori took Yato back home. On the way, Yato said Hiyori to cut all the ties with them so she can live a happy and long life. But Hiyori refuses and forced Yato that she likes this life and that she's happy to live with them. As Hiyori is a half phantom and she often loses her body, so Yato took her body and becomes a Hiyori. While in her body, Yato goes to school and does some weird things, acting like she's so sensitive. Yato, while wearing Hiyori's body, Yato got hit by a boy, and then he shows a cute and sweet expression that her ankle got twisted. So that boy falls into Yato's trap, and then he is taken to the nurse's office. Then while going back to the classroom, Yato, in the body of Hiyori, gives this boy a card. It was a card about the services he gives to people. Then Kofuku also comes there, and they both try to make people fool through their expressions. Kofuku shared her number with school teachers, and then these masters go crazy for her. One of them calls to the bank if he can have a loan of 5 million yen, so he can date Kofuku. Then Hiyori and Yukine go to the Teiji-sama and ask for his help. Teiji-sama said that he will help them, and he will stop Yato from using Hiyori's body. Then Hiyori goes to a room where she was changing clothes, but then Yato, who was in Hiyori's body, finds out that there is a hidden camera, and the boy who set up that camera was watching a live video of her. But then the spirit of the real Hiyori comes to this boy and caught him. But then this boy starts releasing negative powers, and then he broke his phone to remove the evidence. Then he jumps off from the window, but then Hiyori, Yato still in her body, comes and grabs his hand and saves his life, as Yato saves him, but he dislocates the arm of Hiyori's body. And then Yato got punished for doing all this, but then Hiyori said that she forgave him. On hearing this, Yato got emotional and started crying. Then Hiyori invited all of them to see cherry blossoms together. Then after some time, all of them started arriving at the big cherry blossom, but things got serious when Bishamon arrived there, but she didn't attack Yato. Then they all start enjoying their meal and drink beer. But when Bishamon sits beside Yato, he got angry because Bishamon always attacks on him. But they all try to make them friends again. Then Bishamon said the name of one of his servants, and it turned out to be a giant lion. But instead of attacking Yato, this lion starts showing circus tricks, and they all enjoyed it. After drinking too much beer, Bishamon said that Yato had never killed any of her regalia, even though Yato had saved Bishamon many times. But she always hates him for no reason. Then the next day, Hiyori, Yukine, and Yato were in Kofuku's house, and there is a magazine that fell from the sky. They have a job offer from the Regalia, and they will get hired in the luxury temple. So Yukine fills out the form and makes a paper plane of it and throws it into the sky. In the end, they all wrote and shared their thoughts and their love for each other on paper. Then Yato received the letter that Yukine got a chance to get hired in the luxury temple. And that is the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, bye-bye.